What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is that time of year now. It is, I'm going to say it's probably my most dreaded time of the year here on the farm. And one of those tasks that, it has to be done, but golly, I never look forward to it. Part of the reason I don't look forward to it is usually it's because we have hornets and yellow jackets, which if you saw the past video, I did encounter that. But anyway, it is bush hogging season here on the farm. You see back here behind me where I've been bush hogging the upper part of the hillside. Well, now I'm going to have to start working my way down. And look here at this. I'll spin you around here and show you. I mean, we got a bunch of goldenrod, we got ragweed, we got ironweed. Geez, what else is there? Oh, there's blackberry, a little bit of multiflora rose, devil's walking stick, Joe Pye weed. So we got all kinds of these native grasses and weed, native grasses coming up in here. But as you see, it's all up over my head, and I got to get most of it knocked down. Not all of it. I do leave some sections of it still high for the wildlife and pollinators. The deer will bed in this kind of stuff all through the winter, so I don't mow it all down. I still leave them some sections to bed in the coldest part of winter. And then obviously your pollinators and praying mantis and the crickets and grasshoppers are just, you can actually probably hear them all around me. But the turkeys just have a field day up here picking bugs, just bugging up through here, collecting the crickets and grasshoppers that are up here. But anyway, I gotta get over here. I'm gonna get the tractor out. I took today off work because it's such a beautiful day. It's only supposed to be about 78 degrees, 77 degrees, which is incredible for late August. And then it's super low humidity as well. It's a beautiful day. I mean, I would prefer to be out on a lake or camping or hiking or something, but I got to get this stuff taken care of because the month of September is going to be absolutely insane for me with a ton of travel. We've got a vacation coming up. I've got 2 weeks of work in the month of September, so I'm going to be gone nearly the entire month of September, and this stuff's not going to wait. I've already let it go longer than I need to because of other commitments and travel for work. And now I'm going to have to get it caught back up. So I'm going to get the tractor out, and I'll see you on the hillside. All right, well, I have spent probably 4.5, 5 hours bush hogging today, working on the hillside over here. Made a lot of progress, got a lot of things taken care of. Came to the house to get a few things taken care of and see the wife and kids off to church, and walked back out to get on the tractor, and look what I found. Yep. I got a flat tire. So after we burned the property back in March, I went through and I tried to cut down. So we burned up and killed most of the multiflora rose. I went through and tried to cut it all down and drag it off to a pile to have it ready to burn in a bonfire kind of brush fire. And then we had a bunch of calorie pears. Calorie pears basically are just, there's this terrible invasive tree that results from Bradford pears. So when Bradford pear seeds spread, what you end up with is you end up with a calorie pear. And a lot of these calorie pears, they come up super fast. And when they're about a year old, they have great big spikes on them like that. I try to go through and I try to cut them all down with a saw instead of trying to bush hog over them, because the first year I was here, I didn't know that, and I bush hogged through a bunch of them, and I had the very same thing. I punctured a front tire. Thankfully, it's a front tire, not a rear tire. My rear tires are fluid filled. They are full of water. They're probably 80% full of water. I don't even know what they weigh. I would hate to guess what they weigh, but they're very heavy with the rim and then the tire itself being full of water. I mean, it's going to be a few hundred pounds. Front tires, they're not fluid filled, so they really don't weigh that much. But these are 40-year-old tires on this tractor, so really don't take a lot. But anyway, I gotta get the air compressor out. I gotta air this thing up so I can move it up to level ground, jack it up, get that wheel off, and start seeing if I can figure out where the leak is at, see if I can patch it myself. Or tomorrow I'll have to run it to the local co-op, which is only 7-8 miles away or something like that, and take it to the co-op, and they'll patch it for me. They'll fix it. So I'm gonna take you down here. I'm gonna give you an idea of kind of what we've been looking at today. So this whole section here was, a large portion of this was burned back in March, and what it came back as was 90% ragweed. You've seen in some past videos, I've talked about it, I've showed that. Well, this ground was so rich and lush from the burn that this ragweed, you can look at it here. I mean, this ragweed is 6 feet tall and taller. And you got a few others. You got some thistle in there, and there's some occasional ironweed. You see there's another, right there is another calorie pear sticking up. That's really the only other calorie pear. Now, I did hit a few small ones in here that I didn't see because the ragweed was so tall. And so there's another one right there. There's another one, I can see the tips of it right there. And so when this ragweed gets so tall, it kind of shields the calorie pears, so I can't see them till I'm already on top of them. And by that point, either the front tire's already hit them, or I'm already pushed over the top of them, one or the other. And then I have to deal with the consequences of it. But I mean, I've come through here and I've cut, you can see I've cut a lot of this back. I mean, I've mowed this down pretty well in here. This here was super thick. I'm gonna have to come through here a second time. I'm gonna take you over here though and show you the bulk of the hillside where I spent most of my time today mowing. All right, as I was walking to go show you the other part, I found this calorie pear. This was a burned shoot calorie pear. It's probably only about 1 inch in diameter down there in the main part. But look at this. Look at those barbs. Look at those thorns. There's not barbs. I don't know what you just call them. So there's another one. But they are extremely sharp. That's probably, and it is super hard. Goodness. I mean, and it is, man, that's crazy. But it is covered in them all the way up through there. If you've got a 40-year-old tire or even a new tire, that does not take much for that to puncture through there. I have a buddy that he built a house on this same ridge that we're on, but he's several miles away. And the first year that he was mowing his property off, he had 3 or 4 flat tires. And I talked to him and I explained to him about these calorie pears. He had never dealt with them before, didn't know what they were. And once I showed him what they were like and these thorns on them basically, or these barbs or whatever you want to call them, once he started going through sawing them down by hand instead of running them over, his flat tires went away. But unfortunately, I just missed a few. These were buried and covered in the ragweed, and now I'm paying the price. I'm going to have to come through here and clean all these up because even once they're dead, once they're dry, they're super hard. I mean, they are still extreme. You would think they'd be brittle and they would break and snap like a lot of dead tree limbs do. Well, those barbs, those thorns, they don't. They just harden and solidify. That sun's in a bad spot right there probably. And they actually get worse. Once the plant is dead and dried up, the barbs actually are worse. Before the tree is dead, they're a little flexible. You can kind of grab it and wiggle it, kind of like a hairbrush bristle, you know. It's got a little bit of wiggle to it. But once the plant is dead and dried up, then they're locked in. I mean, they're just like little needles waiting to puncture things. I'm gonna walk down here, try to find a shady spot where it's not blown out with sunlight, and kind of give you an idea of what we've been doing today. All right, well, spent a large portion of my day down here mowing this part of the hillside off. Once again, this was all, I mean, this was a bunch of ragweed, but also a lot of winged sumac. And that's little shrubs is what that is. That's not a grass. So I ended up having to go through here in first gear, and this whole thing was in first gear because it was so thick and there was so much woody undergrowth in there between the sumac and then the ironweed and the ragweed and just all that sort of stuff that I had to go through in first gear. So it took forever to get this mowed, but now that it's cleaned up, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to eventually get to this section up through here. I did leave a lot of this part here intentionally though, because this has a lot of goldenrod in it. And so I left the goldenrod. I like goldenrod. It's good for the pollinators and the birds and butterflies and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to leave the goldenrod here until probably October, once it's done doing its thing and the birds are done with it and the pollinators are done with it. And then I'm going to come through and mow it all down. But for the most part, I mowed the majority of the hillside off today. You can see I mowed this other section up through here, mowed that yesterday evening. So this is just a small little section here of goldenrod, and it's getting ready to bloom, not quite there. And there's some sumac right here too. That sumac came back heavily following the burn. All right, well, I got the tire off and I totally forgot that these are tubeless, that these are tube tires, not tubeless. So I'm not able to patch it myself. Let me put it this way. I've never patched a tube tire. I've always had to buy like a bicycle, you got to buy a replacement tube for it. And the last time I punctured a tire on this one, it was the same thing. I had a calorie repair barb go through and puncture the tube and had to get a new tube put in. So co-op's closed. It's 6:15 now. Co-op's closed till tomorrow morning. I'll just have to load this thing up and head over to the co-op in the morning. But it didn't take any time to get that tire off. Just it took longer to air the tire up, to move the tractor up here to a level spot, than it actually did to take the tire off. But anyway, that's done, and hopefully we can get a new tube in it tomorrow morning, and I'll be up and ready to roll again by tomorrow afternoon. So, well, that's going to do it for this video, everybody. You know, like I said, this time of year is usually really heavy in the bush hogging work. The last time I bush hogged the entire farm at one time, normally Normally I bush hog everything in phases, and I'll do this section this week and then wait 2 weeks and do this section and then wait a month and do this. I've got a schedule that I generally follow. And I do that because it allows me to have a various, you know, age range of habitat for the wildlife here. After the burn, everything grew at the same rate. And so what happened then is now I've got an entire farm that's overgrown because it all just came up at the same rate. And instead of me mowing it in the summer, or early summer or late spring like I should have, I didn't. And the nutrition in the soil, the nutrients in the soil from the burn just caused everything to explode. I mean, I've never had ragweed 6 feet tall. Never. And it's unbelievable. Like you saw, I mean, well, the buckwheat plot was something different back in a past video, but I've never had stuff grow to the level that it has grown following the burn, which is good. And it's, in this case, since I'm now having to mow it down, it's bad in that case too. So anyway, but what I was going to say was, the last time I mowed the entire farm at one time, basically, it took me like 20 to 22 hours to bush hog the whole thing. That's, you know, that's like continuous mowing work, and that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time bush hogging. So, you know, I'm rethinking my whole bush hogging property management, zoned, you know, staged growth concept that I got going on. I don't know, and it's always worked. I just think the burn this year got everything so out of whack with the timing and then the sudden explosive growth of everything. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna put my compressor and everything up, and I'm gonna go eat. I didn't have lunch today because I was outside working, and I'm hungry now. So I'm gonna go get some dinner, and I will catch you next time. Thank you all so much. If you haven't yet, I'd really appreciate if you go in and you hit that like and subscribe button. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you're doing at this time, if you're what you're doing for your habitat management, property management activities. Thank you so much. Have a blessed week.